Okay, so you join me out on the mighty 1250GS BMW for our first kind of ride. I'm hoping you've seen the walk around we did when it first arrived, of course, and we will be doing a few videos on this, I imagine, because I quite like it, I have to say. So why did I buy another GS, you might ask yourself? If you've been subscribed for a while, you'll know we've had two on the channel. The first one I didn't like very much at all. The second one I liked a little bit better, but nowhere near as much as I liked the Multistradas. So why on earth have I bought another one? Well, I bought this one because it's the more modern version of the GS, as in the 1250, and it does have this incredible TFT display down here. And one of my big gripes about the GS versus the Multistrada was for the same year, like a 2016, 17, 18. On the Multistrada 1200 and 1260Ss, you get a beautiful TFT screen. You get the 6-axis IMU, you get cruise control, you get quick shifter, you get all that lovely stuff. And yet on the BMW GSs, you've got pretty much none of that stuff. And if you got the more modern ones, even with the older dash, the 1250, I think they did the 1250 with a slightly older dash as well. They just didn't have all the things that the Multistrada did. You know, it just wasn't up there for me, not for the money. Bearing in mind, I spent £7,000 on my last Multistrada 1260S, which was a 2019, with pretty much the same mileage as this. This has done 28,200 miles. Yes, a little bit long in the mileage, but I think you'd have to agree, 28,000 miles on a GS is like 10,000 miles on anything else, really, isn't it? Because of the boxer engine, you know, revving so low. So it doesn't bother me that much, and most of the service history is at BMW. It's had 2 or 3 valve checks, all that kind of good stuff, and I got it from a dealer. A dealer, yes, I know. Why did I buy a bike from a dealer? Well, I decided to get rid of, or move on, maybe is a better word, the Honda CB1100 and the GSX 1400. I'm hoping you've seen the videos we did on those. But why? Well, the GSX 1400, I'd had a lot of fun with that. I had it almost a year, 9 months or so. And that's the longest I've had a bike in a long time. That tells you how much I actually really liked the bike. And I still really do love the GSX 1400. I think it's an amazing bike. But a bit old, it's 20 years old. I fancied something with a little bit more tech, a little bit more safety. So I was going to get something a bit modern, because I don't have a huge amount of years left when it comes to biking. I get sore pretty much within an hour these days, so there is that. And I'd already gotten rid of the Speed Triple 1200 RS because I don't need 180 horsepower. I realised I barely used a tenth of it, so that seemed a bit silly. But it was a fun bike to have for a little while. Again, videos on the channel. So I put both the CB1100 and the GSX 1400 up online on eBay. Got some interest, nothing major to be fair. And then I started looking at dealers, thinking, well, what can I get as a Part X? Thinking, they'll probably offer me $4,000 for the GSX, maybe the same for the Honda CB1100. And there was a dealer, KH Motorcycles, really, really nice guys actually. Liam, young guy there, dealt with him. And I sent him a message about, oddly enough, another Multistrada 1260S they had in stock. And I said, what would you offer me as a Part X for my 2 bike? I said, but has it had its Desmo? He said, well, we'd be interested in taking your bikes as Part X, but no, it hasn't had its Desmo, which, bearing in mind it was a 2018, and it was just done over 18,000 miles, so it was definitely due, and they weren't planning on doing it, so I just said, okay, well, let's forget that. And then I spotted this, because it's such a lovely colour, although I do like the triple black as well, I have to say that. And I said, all right, well, let's have a little look at that then. What can you offer me on that? And I sent him over the details for the bikes, and he said, well, we can offer you $4,250 for the CB Honda, which I thought was an amazing price, bearing in mind we paid $3,000 for that. And we'll offer you $4,800 for the GSX 1400, which blew my mind as a Part X deal. I would have been happy to take $4,500. Happy being the operative word. It owed me 44 with all the work we did on it. 48 as a Part X and 4250 gave me over $9,000 as Part X money, and this was up at 99,995, 9999. So I had to give him $1,000 basically. I had to pay him £1,000 to swap over 2 relatively old bikes. One I didn't particularly like. The other one was just a little bit too long and in the tooth for me, really. I suppose I just wanted something a bit more technically advanced. And I thought putting $1,000 into that basically means. Oh, and I sold the exhausts as well. I got a set of original cans that came off the GSX 1400 when it was new, and I sold those cans because you just can't find them in that condition. They've never been on the bike. And I sold them for £200 on Facebook. So all told, to swap over both bikes, and with a bit of money I got back for the exhaust, bearing in mind I've still got the screen and the jivvy rear rack as well, that's got to be worth £50. This bike now owes me financially around about £8,400, somewhere around about there. I think that is a bloody bargain for a 2019, even with 28,000 miles, full luggage as well, including the top box, which I love a top box. I figure £8,400, it's got to be worth it. It's got to be privately, I would think this is a £9,000 bike all day. So how does it ride? Let's get into that. Well, beautifully, as you would expect. This MRA screen at the front here is slightly tinted, and it's got the little deflector on top as well. And I put that up to its uppermost setting just now on the motorway, and it was like nothing. There's a bit of wind kind of wobbling, as it were, in my elbows, which if I just tuck my elbows in, that just disappears. But from my chest and my head, nothing. It's literally like buttery smooth riding along 70, 80 miles an hour. You know, you could do it for hours because there's none of that kind of fatigue you get from being blown about by the wind. Just amazing. I'm not sure what the standard screen's like, of course, because this is, as I said, the MRA screen with the extra little deflector on there. I don't know if that's been set up perfectly, if I'm honest. I don't know how to set those up, but it works pretty well right now, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. But a really, really nice place to sit here, as you can see. You've got everything you need in front of you, range to empty, the mode you're in, the gear you're in, the miles an hour, the revs, the ambient temperature, the time. You can obviously set that up to show exactly what you want as well. I mean, I can change that to trip meter 1 and 2, and then we've got the tyre pressures there. We've got, well, now we're doing 200 miles to empty, and that gives me my tank there as well, and then we go back through. I mean, I like to have it on range to empty, if I'm honest. That's my preferred. We can change the modes as well if we want to, but we are out on our first ride, so I'm going to keep it in road just for now. We're going to pop down to BMW in Plymouth and have a little look there. I just figured why not, maybe pop into Triumph and Harley Davidson as well. I won't bore you with that. We've walked around their places a couple of times already. But I wanted to let you know what my first initial ride thoughts are on this 1250GS and compare it to the Multistrada and, of course, the two other GSs we've had. It's night and day compared to the original 1200GSs, I have to say. I found them both to be a little bit vanilla. Gearbox is butter smooth, as you would expect. The gear change is... We're on hill hold now as well. I just spotted that. I tried that just now, this hill hold thing, and yeah, I stalled it. So that's something I've got to get used to. Just another little feature. They do it on the Multistrada as well, but I never used it there. But it's got everything I need. Heated grips, cruise control, as I said, quick shifter, whereas the old GSs had pretty much none of that. It's obviously quicker than the original 1200s. As well. Qashqai guy gets out of my way. We'll spin past him in a second. Is he? Yeah, okay. And there we are, 75 miles an hour in as quick as you can say, 75 miles an hour. So yeah, pretty quick. Not mind-bendingly quick like the Multistrada 1260S, of course. I think these are around about 135 horsepower, whereas the Multistrada is 155, is it? 1260S. But being a boxer engine, it delivers its power differently anyways, a lot of torque. Not to say the Multistrada doesn't have any torque, because it has bloody bucket loads of it. But yeah, it's quick enough for me. As I said, I had the 1200 RS speed triple from Triumph, and I just wasn't using that to its full potential, shall we say. Nowhere near it. So I just figured, okay, you're 58 years old this year. Why don't you just start acting like a 58-year-old and get yourself a GS? So I did, and here it is. We are, as I said, going to do some more videos on this bike. I'm not sure what we're going to do when it comes to accessories. I have got a few little bits and bobs. I put a screen protector from Speedo Angels on here straight away after my little drama with the Ducati Monster 1200 screen. And I've got some other bits and bobs coming. I've got some grip puppies coming. I've got an infill that goes in here as well to stop any kind of more air coming through, as in turbulent air when you're on the motorway. And I've got a little cover for the rear parcel shelf. I've got loads of little... You're going to laugh. I've got loads of little things coming from AliExpress. I've spent 75 quid on AliExpress goodies. So if you're interested to see what they're going to be like when they arrive and how we fit them and what they do and, you know, how they look, are they any good kind of thing, then do consider subscribing. Give this video a like, a share and a thumbs up, all that kind of good stuff as well. And as I said, we'll have some more videos on this, including some cheaper accessories, shall we say, because I'm not going to get Wonderlick and Norman Nippies and all that kind of nonsense. I don't have that kind of money, if I'm honest, and I think they're overpriced, if I'm honest. Although you pay for quality, I guess, but for me, for little cosmetic extras, I think AliExpress, they do a fine job, you know. And worst case scenario is you've lost 50 quid on some bits you'll never use, you know. It's not the end of the world, is it? I mean, I spent 150 quid, I think it was, on bar risers from Nippy Normans when I had my first GS and then sold the bike, so yeah, not doing that again. Anyway, that is it. We are on the Tamar Bridge. We are heading to BMW in Plymouth. This is our initial ride on the 1250 and our initial thoughts after a 15-minute ride. And so far, yeah, I kind of like it, actually, I've got to say. It doesn't excite the soul like the Multistrada 1260 does, but I didn't buy it for that, you know. But so far, yeah, I'm quite liking this. I think I'm going to get on pretty well with this GS. And as I said, if you want to see some more videos on this, including the kind of budget accessory thing that we're going to do, and maybe a longer tour as well. We might take a longer trip, and I'll take you along with me, and we'll see how it fares and how I fare, more to the point, on a 200-mile trip, something like that. Anyway, from Budget Cars and Bikes, that is it. That is the 2019 BMW 1250 GSTE and our initial thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll catch up in a couple of weeks, guys. Ride safe, take care, see you later.